What's going on, everyone? Well, for this Cowboys video, I'm going to be addressing several things. One, I'm going to be talking about the trade that the Cowboys made on Tuesday for defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins. Next up, I'm going to be discussing the injury situation, several players, including one with Zeke Elliot, who was just recently listed as doubtful for the upcoming game against the Bears. Then I'm going to definitely be talking about the Chicago Bears, their victory against the Patriots, what they've been doing recently, and so on and so forth. And whatever comes up, maybe I'll do my best to discuss it and address it at the same time. So, getting right into it, Tuesday, the Cowboys made a trade for Jonathan Hankins, a well-known veteran run stuffer, nose guard, weighs about 340 pounds. He's not a known pass rusher, but he has gotten sacks before, and he has not gotten sacks for, I'd say, a few years, even when he was with the Raiders. He's been with them for at least several years. He was mostly with the Giants, our very own division rival, and Hankins has had some pretty decent games against us. He was able to stuff Murray a few times, even back when Murray had his best season. Then when Zeke came into the league and when he was rushing well, he did not seem to do very well against the Giants' D-line specifically, since Hankins was actually able to get, penetrate the line and tackle Zeke for like maybe a few negative yards and maybe no gain at most. So, or if he even got a positive yard, it was like maybe 1 or 2 yards at best. So Hankins really brings a great veteran presence on that D-line. We surely could use it because of the fact that we've been struggling in recent weeks against the run. The last time we actually held our running back to under 100 yards rushing, or running backs in general, was against the Rams. And of course, the Rams weren't known for having that great of a rushing attack. But even before we faced them, like I even said in my previous video, I think we've actually held the Rams to the lowest amount of yards, because they actually had some good rushing yards before they faced us, and we were not doing that great. We were allowing, the first 3-4 games, a total of over 100 yards rushing. And we've been struggling for quite some time. But thankfully, I think that's going to change. It's going to definitely, our D-line should be much improved with Hankins on that front. We should be able to get more penetrating stops, and, none of those big runs should come about. They shouldn't be happening unless if they start going more to the inside. But hopefully, with the addition of Hankins, that will free up the linebackers to make more plays in the backfield, and hopefully, Leighton Vander Esch won't be so hesitant to make tackles. And maybe this will definitely help Micah out in the long run, even though he's questionable for this week's game against the Bears. So anyway, you slice it, it was definitely a good trade because we only gave up a 6th-round pick, despite the fact that Hankins was on a 1-year deal. But we only have to pay him like $700,000, and also we get a 7th-round pick back from the Raiders as well. So I think it was actually a good trade for us. I mean, it wasn't the Derek Brown trade that I was hoping for, but maybe the Panthers kind of overvalued him and probably wanted more than, a 2nd-round pick. They probably wanted a first. It's what happens with a lot of their teams, thinking they can just try to overvalue their own player in hopes they can get a high draft pick for the guy. It doesn't always work that way, but I'm very glad that we got Hankins. It's definitely going to help us in the long run. I think this would be at least better than when we signed Poe, because at least Hankins seems motivated. He has a high motor. He's definitely wanting to come in and help improve our ability to stop the run and at least contain running backs for a good while. Seems like Dontari Poe was just lazy, and he was actually younger than Hankins. I don't know. But for whatever reason, it didn't work out with Poe. But then again, Nolan's scheme was pretty moronic in itself, so maybe that's why. But anyway, you slice it. Great trade for the Cowboys. I'm very glad that we got him. I wanted to talk about it the day that happened, but the internet that I have was having some issues and being ridiculous, and some other, stuff in my, family, takes priority, so I decided not to do it that day. But on the next front, our injury situation, Zeke Elliot, like I think I said earlier, he's doubtful to play this game because of his PCL sprain or maybe slight tear. I don't know. There's been conflicting reports on that. But anyway, slice it. Zeke's going to be hobbled, and it's definitely a good thing that he could sit out for this game. And And then next week is our bye week, so hopefully maybe he might be healed enough to play in the next game. I think we face, it's either the Vikings or the Packers. I can't remember, but I have to kind of look that up. And also there's some other additional injuries. I don't know if they're going to be preventing, it's key members of the defense. One of them is Micah Parsons. He has some kind of shoulder injury. He's questionable. Same with Malik Hooker, our starting free safety. Sam Williams has some kind of knee injury. I know that Neville Gallimore was having some kind of wrist injury, but he was at least practicing. And I'm trying to remember if someone else was also injured. I think one of our special teams guy is injured. I do know that Jordan Lewis had that injury and he's been put on IR, so I figured I'd go ahead and address that. But I don't know. I'm trying to think who else was injured, but hopefully one of those guys can play. We definitely could use Micah for this game, especially since now that I'm going to get into Chicago, the Bears had, 200 yards rushing on that Patriots defense. And while Justin Fields isn't playing all that great, he can still make plays with his legs. I don't know how good the Chicago Bears wide receivers are, but they probably have some speedsters on that side. And their O-line, from what I understood, is not the same, but it all depends on who's playing for us. I know that, Dorrance Armstrong can get some pressure, but it all depends on what's happening. It all depends on what kind of scheme that Quinn's going to put out there. And from what I understood, Chicago's defense, I know they recently traded away Robert Quinn to the Eagles for a 4th-round pick. I don't know if they have any really good pressure guys or good run stuffers. But from what I understood, I heard they supposedly have a good secondary. So there's really no telling what's going to be happening with that. And hopefully, Dak is able to take what the defense can give him. If he can at least play similar to what Cooper Rush, except maybe he's a little more elevated and he's a little more presence on his throws, and if he can make the particular throws to the wide receivers that can get open, and hopefully Kellen Moore, or Karen Moron as I like to call him, can scheme wide receivers better and get Gallup open, maybe our passing game can really take off. But with Zeke being out and Pollard getting the nod to start, there's just really no telling what's going to happen. As long as we are able to do our job, if we are able to run the ball effectively and get those good runs against the Bears defense, we definitely can win this game for sure. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I can see that it be a similar game to the Lions. I could see it being like a 20-10 type of game, or even a 24-17 type of game, or maybe even a 27-17 type of game in a way, because Chicago is not going to play anywhere near as bad as the Lions are, because you saw what they were capable of doing against the Patriots. They ended up blowing up the Patriots 33-14. In fact, the Patriots were leading. Then all of a sudden, the second half, the Bears just exploded all over them, and they just ran all over the Patriots, and they took away with the win. And apparently, the Patriots starting quarterback, I guess Bailey Zapp, I think is his name, he threw 2 interceptions. Then I guess Mac Jones came in, but he threw another interception. So the Bears secondary is pretty underrated from what I've heard. And actually, their head coach is one of our former linebackers coach back in the day, Matt Elberfuss or Elberfuss, or whatever you want to call him. But he was our linebackers coach up until 2017. Then he left to become the defensive coordinator for the Colts, and he actually shut us out. And that the Colts back in 2018, we didn't get any points on that defense. So it's definitely going to be an interesting game for sure. I can see it being a tough game. Just hopefully the offense definitely steps it up and actually doesn't have these slow starts, because if we get behind, Chicago could easily put us away like they did the Patriots. So as long as everyone is on the same page, the defense, stays in their gap discipline, they make the tackles, they make the stops. Trayvon Diggs does his own thing. I don't know if Joseph is going to get the start at outside corner, but it'd be interesting. I know that Bland's going to be coming in, in Lewis's spot now that Jordan Lewis got injured. So it should be an interesting to see how this secondary will hold up. And if Malik Hooker can't go, I have a feeling it's going to be Israel Mukamo, or whatever you freaking pronounce his name. Maybe he steps in at free safety, or Donovan Wilson. Who knows? Just hopefully the offense and defense just plays with some discipline and with some smartness, and just goes out there, forces pressure, sacks, turnovers. We definitely will win this game, but it won't be an easy win for sure, I think. So if we blow them out, hey, I'll take it. So anyways, I think that's all I have to say. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, like, share, and offer your thoughts as to how you feel about us facing Chicago, and go from there. All right, see y'all later. Bye bye.